This is Joe Pace from GCBC. I'm doing another admin review of something I'm super excited to review. It is the Moccamaster from Technivorm, and it's the model KB741AO, which stands for automatic off. And as you may know, I have a Technivorm. It's sitting on the side right now, waiting for its turn in the spot. But today I'm going to be reviewing the new one that I just got sent from Technivorm to review for them. I'm super excited. I love Technivorm products, so it's going to be a biased review, but I'll tell you exactly what I think is good, what I think is bad, and how it compares to other brewers on the market, such as the Bonavita that we just recently reviewed, so you can get an idea of if it's the right brewer for you. I typically have, I like thermal coffee brewers for my own personal consumption. However, this brewer is not a thermal brewer. It does have a different brew basket as well. This has the one where you could shut it off completely. So if you want to go ahead and hold the water in there, the hot water in there while you swirl it. I know there's different techniques that try to mimic that of a pour over. You can do it like a half open and then a full open all the way up. The switch itself doesn't really, I don't know how to describe it. The thing is light and the switch is strong. So to actually click it into place or into the right place is a little bit of a challenge. It's one drawback to this model. I do like the model I have for my own, where it only goes if it's pushed up against it. It has a pause and serve part of it, but the drawback of that would be is that it has no way to actually shut off the brewing cycle. So if you pulled your pot out for longer than you needed to, you would have an overflow situation. This is a really nice brew basket though, all things considered. I love the cone shape. If you paid attention to the Bonavita review, you know that I'm not a big fan of the flat bottom. This is the style I prefer. They gave us some nice instructions, quick brewing guide, which is neat. I love the, this means that you're happy at the end, so that's always good. I did get some filters from Technivorm. I'm not sure if this comes in the box typically, but I did get them. It did come with another sleeve like this with about 10 filters or so to get you going. So this is the last one left of that, and this describes all the different models. It has the instruction manual. It's handmade in, I think, the Netherlands. That's always amazing. And if you want to know what it looks like on the inside, they give you a little card and it shows you specifically how it all works. But this is the model I have. As you can see, it has the looks like a siphon, but I think it helps retain heat. And this one has 2 heat settings for the hot plate, which you can go, I guess, full on or somewhat warm, keep warm. I don't know how that works exactly, but I'll read it and I'll let you know. Okay, so here's how the dual hot plate works. It actually goes low or high with that setting. So it has 2 switches. So that's how that works. And other than that, it says it auto offs. I haven't had a chance to actually test to see if it actually does shut off automatically, but I'm assuming it does. Here is the brew basket explanation as well. That half open actually is for brewing a half pot of coffee, only 2 to 5 cups. I never do that, so I am going to always leave mine either all the way open or closed if you want to do something to pause it. Again, I prefer the one that you don't have to have the switch. I like it where you just push the carafe in and it allows it to flow. And the tube, I thought it was to retain thermal heat, but it actually talks about that it actually pre-mixes a brew, so that way you don't have issues with stirring the coffee. I don't know if you have fines or whatever, but this tube is supposedly going to help with that. Okay, and so the automatic shut off, which is the one that I have here that I'm reviewing, does shut off after 100 minutes. So I would not try to test that out. I would just manually shut it off, but it is nice to know that if you leave the house, which I've done several times with my other non-automatic off Technivorm, and come back to find the light on, that this one actually will shut itself off. So here's the Technivorm all set up. It's got its grounds in there. I don't weigh my grounds. I actually do it by sight, which is probably not the best idea, but that's just how I've always done it. I used to have a filter that had a mark that told you when it was full or not. I do want to show you the brew head where the shower screen where it comes out. You can see it has many holes, so many holes. It's a little less impressive as, say, the Bonavita or the Nuco brewers back in the day, but it gets the job done, and this design has worked for a long time. It even worked well even when they only had a couple holes and not as many holes as it has now. So put that back in place, and then we're going to start a brew to see how this works. And here's the switch here. Click it on. The automatic stirring tube. Not too sure what that does exactly, but I think it's more to do with heat retention practically. This is something I've always thought is weird too. Is it looks like the lid has like a room. I don't know if it's for venting or what, but it's got room for this to move. I'm not going to touch this too much longer because this does get really hot. But you can kind of see how the water, as it comes up, how it will wet the grounds. And despite the holes kind of being in one spot or the other, it actually does a pretty good job of getting all the grounds wet. I've never seen any of my brews that come out that they're not all wet. And something about this model that's pretty neat is you could actually rotate this around if you needed to expedite the wetting process of your grounds. And I have seen people on YouTube, which I don't recommend to do it, go ahead and switch off this power, lock this in the closed position, and then go ahead and swirl the grounds to try to replicate more of a pour over brew. I just think this works best left alone, and it's very efficient and well thought out. Keep the lid on it, and then we're going to go through the brew cycle and report back on how it all came out. So while we're waiting for this to finish up, it takes 4 to 6 minutes to brew. I'm assuming depending on the amount of coffee that you're brewing, because they do have an option that allows for only 5 cups. I want to bring out the point, the things that I'm critical about on this particular model of brewer are not going to be typical of the whole line of Technivorm brewers. They actually have so much variation in their brewer models that if you don't like something about one, there's going to be another one that has the features that you like. So I really appreciate that about Technivorm. They don't just make one brewer, they make several kinds that all look very similar and all provide really great coffee, and they just have little details that might make it work for you more than, say, the other brewer. So for instance, I like the where you pull the carafe out and it automatically pauses. It has a little lever that goes up and a little switch actually right at the base of it that when you pull it off, it stops. I like that because then I can put it back if I need to. I don't actually ever use it. I usually only brew a whole pot, but I would never use a switch on the brew basket. It feels like it would move the brew basket and cause other problems. But for some people, that might be exactly what they want to do. They want to go ahead and pause it, swirl it, make it work for them. So, and one thing that I'm critical of for myself, I realize it's probably going to work for somebody else in a way that they really enjoy to make their coffee. So this does have some of those features that if it does work for you, you'll like it. It's already almost through its brew cycle, it's about halfway, and it just makes great coffee. Technivorm brewers just make amazing coffee. Bonavita makes great coffee as well. However, I give a slight edge, and I don't know if it's just the cost of it or what, but something about when you take a sip of coffee brewed in a Technivorm, the only thing I can compare it to is if I'm weighing my grounds and weighing all this stuff with a pour over, pre-wetting my filter, doing the whole ceremony. With this, I can wake up, grind my coffee to the level I want, stick it in there, and it's going to come out essentially the same, if not even slightly better. And I know that's gonna cause some problems for people like John, but there you go. Okay, we're getting towards the end of the brew cycle. I just wanted to pop the top off so you can see that, in fact, all the grounds are completely wetted. Doesn't seem to be any issues with that. They're suspended in there. The tube is getting dry. Everything is quality. The parts on this is metal. This is high quality plastic, but it's nice. It's really nice. It has a real nice feel to it. This is plastic too. This is glass, but the main parts of it are metal. As you can see, even the part where the water goes down is metal. So quality wise, this is built significantly better than any other brewer that I've seen, actually. You can see even the screws on the inside are metal. It's just built with quality products. And they're built to be serviced as well, so everything comes apart. I really just appreciate well-crafted products of any kind. It doesn't matter what tool you're using, it's a tool. And so when you're investing in a tool, it feels good to invest in something like this, just because you know it's built right. The hot plate is on. I don't know if it's on full on. It looks like it is. I'm gonna put it on half. And so there you go. This is that moment of truth. We get to test and see if this is good coffee. I'll read. So I did find one really useful thing about this lock is that you can lock it at the end of the brew cycle so the last little drips don't drip on the hot plate. If I have that open, it'll still be dripping, you know, ever so slightly and boiling on this hot plate. So, which makes it hard to then put your pot back on. But that is a nice feature for the glass craft models. I would think that could be useful. You would be able to shut it off and then do that. But I would warn you, make sure you put it back on at some point, because otherwise you might brew your next batch and that thing's locked, and then you'd have an overflow situation. I'm going to go ahead and attempt to try this amazing coffee. Amazing.